recording.
A video? Oh, you, oh.
Right now. Okay, this is me and Jennifer talking. This is question number 39 on test 023 practice GACE. At first, this question sort of threw me for a little bit of a loop because it wants to know how far is O from E. Okay, and so I definitely can get from O to this point right here using the Pythagorean theorem. 8 squared plus 4 squared equals that hypotenuse squared. And so that'd be 64 plus 16 equals the hypotenuse squared, and that would be 80 equals the hypotenuse squared, so square root both sides. That hypotenuse is equal to the square root of 80. So I know that. All right, and I can simplify that later if I need to. But then I could get from this point to here, because 2 squared plus 1 squared is equal to that little hypotenuse squared. So that would be 4 plus 1 equals hypotenuse squared. So 5 equals the hypotenuse squared. If I square root both sides, the hypotenuse is the square root of 5. All right, here's what it took me a little bit to understand, and that is that I was confused about how do I know, though, that this is a straight line and that it's not like jacked up sort of sideways. And I want to show you what I looked at, and that is this. This picture actually, because of this right angle, and this right angle, and this right angle, okay, these are two parallel lines, which means that the path that I wasn't sure was straight is actually a transversal. Okay, and because it's transversal and it meets at these points, then I actually do know that that's all one solid line across the two parallels. That's how I knew that, in fact, the distance from O to E has to be the sum of the square root of 80 plus the square root of 5. So I'm going to go back here, the square root of 80 plus the square root of 5. That answer is not here. So I'm going to tell you that this right here, 5 square root of 5, is my suspicion, because the square root of 5 can't be simplified any further without going to just approximations. But so what I'm going to do is simplify the square root of 80. The square root of 80 is equal to what? The square root of, let's just say that you didn't know, the square root of 8 times the square root of 10. The square root of 8 is equal to the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. And the square root of 10 is equal to the square root of 2 times the square root of 5. Okay, so this would equal to, that is a perfect square. The square root of 4 is equal to 2. And if I have the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, that is 2. And then times the square root of 5, which can't be simplified. Okay, so I've got the square root of 2 times, 2 times 2 times the square root of 5 plus the square root of 5, which would be 4 times the square root of 5 plus what is 1 times the square root of 5. If you have 4 square roots of 5, to which you are adding 1 square root of 5, that would be 5 times the square root of 5. And so my suspicion was correct, and C is the answer.